everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to Yarn Purpose. It's the end of the month, so you know what that means. It's time for that coffee catch-up. Hey everyone, welcome back to Yarn Purpose. I'm real excited to have a coffee catch-up for you today to catch you up on everything that I've been working on over the last month. I'm still on my coffee mixed with chai kick, so that is what is in my cup today. It's a little humid here in Chicagoland, so I've got my little coaster over here for my iced coffee. But I'll start by updating you on sort of the life things that have been happening over the last month, sort of non-knitting, non-work related items. So a couple weeks ago, my husband and I drove up to Fargo, North Dakota. My brother and his wife and kids live up there, and so we like to go up there one time in the fall every year to see them. Up in Fargo, there is a university, North Dakota State University, and they I swear, it's like they treat that football team like it's an NFL team, because obviously North Dakota doesn't have an NFL team. So we like to go up there, my husband and I, to visit my brother and his wife and kids, but we always go with my brother to an NDSU game, mostly for the tailgating. It's so much fun. And then we just spent the rest of the weekend hanging with the kids, and his wife and everybody, just had some good family time. But that's a long drive from here. From my house in Illinois to my brother's house in North Dakota, it is 611 miles. And flying really from Chicago to Fargo is really like not an option. Like, there's no cheap flights to go to Fargo that we've ever found anyway. So we just load up in the car and drive. But on the plus side, I did get quite a bit of knitting done in the car. My husband and I did switch off on the driving, but when I wasn't driving, you better believe I was knitting. So I'll be showing you that a little bit later. Other than that, Alex and I also went to the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. We touched on that a little bit in my knitting chat with Alex a couple weeks ago. But we went to Wisconsin Sheep and Wool and had a really good time. I have the yarn. I showed you the yarn in the knitting chat with Alex. That was just sort of random that happened, but I have it here again to show you today. So yeah, those have been like the main things. So we have been doing some sort of fun things in between, just like working and knitting and stuff. So September was definitely a good month. So getting into the knitting and crochet, as far as finished objects go, I don't really have anything. I mean, I finished some work things up, but I don't have any personal knitting that I finished at all this month. But I do have some whips that are very close to being done, so I will go ahead and show you those. I guess I'm going to go ahead and start with the socks. As far as the socks go, again, you saw it in the knitting chat with Alex. I have in my Blackhawks bag from Kitchen Counter Crafter, I have some Blackhawks socks that I started for Alex. He did see up on my shelf, I had the Blackhawks yarn sitting there. Here's the ball here. It is the Go Hawks colorway, appropriately named, from Nomadic Yarns. She's on Etsy, if you're not familiar with her. She puts a few dyed to order yarns in her shop every week, so I don't know if she currently has this. But it is the Go Hawks colorway, so it's very Chicago Blackhawks colors. Alex actually asked me to make a pair of socks for him, which I have never done, because he's just not that into me knitting him things, weirdly. But this, he was like, yeah, make me a pair of socks. So of course I have started those, but I haven't gotten too far. I have been making him try them on when I am working on them, just because, I mean, I know his shoe size and everything, but I just really want to make sure they fit, so he wants to wear them. So I've been working on those here and there, not too much over the last couple weeks, but I'll be getting back to those, especially now that the Blackhawks, the regular season starts soon, so we'll have Blackhawks games on in the house a lot, so I'm sure I will get these done in the next month or so while watching Blackhawks. Then the other one that I have is these socks have been I had sort of set them to the side for a while, and then this week picked them back up. I already had one sock done. This is again Nomadic Yarns. I'm really on a Nomadic Yarns kick. I believe that this colorway is Starlight. It's on my Ravelry project page, and I'll leave the information down below too. I'm pretty sure that the colorway on this one is Starlight. And it's her Twisty Sport, so it's a sport weight yarn. So I already had one sock done a long time ago, but then earlier this week Alex and I went to pub trivia. It was Office, the TV show The Office themed, and that's like my favorite show of all time. So I wanted some knitting to do just because you are sitting there at a bar for like 2 hours, like waiting for like the questions and the scores and everything. So I did start the second sock there. I didn't want to take the Blackhawks sock just because I knew that at some point I'd have to stop to have Alex try it on, and I was not going to make him do that in a bar, obviously. So I just picked the sock back up and started this. So this is the second sock. This one did not come to me in the gobstopper ball. It was just in a center pull cake. So, but that's the colorway there. And again, I think it's Starlight. I'll leave it down below. I just am really loving it. And I feel like if I can have these done before Rhinebeck, these will be like perfect Rhinebeck socks, because that red I think goes really nice with my sweater that I'm knitting, which I'll just go ahead and show you right now. So I'm so excited because this will be my third time going to Rhinebeck. And you know, when I went 2 years ago, it was a very last minute. Somebody had a cancellation in their house. The price was right. So I decided to go very last minute, and I did not have a Rhinebeck sweater. And I have some sweaters that I've knit, but I didn't feel, I don't know, I just didn't feel like they were Rhinebeck sweater worthy. And then last year, I just had a lot of work going on, and my book was coming due, and so I just didn't have time to knit myself a Rhinebeck sweater. But this year, I'm pretty sure I will have this sweater done for Rhinebeck, and I'm so excited I finally have a Rhinebeck sweater. Third time's the charm, right? So here it is. I have made some very significant progress on it, and it is the Izumi sweater. I will leave a link to it down below, of course. And it is in a pom-pom quarterly from 2017. I believe it was the spring 2017 pom-pom quarterly. It is knit out of the Stunning String Super Sport, so it's a sport weight yarn. The colorway is Broken Heart. It's like, I don't know if it's like really picking up here, but it's sort of like this very deep red, almost goes to like black. So it's very much my color. So you can see it's kind of blown out here, but you can see there's like lace on the shoulders on the front. And then going to the back, oh, there is like this lace on the back here. All I keep saying is it's like having a shawl built into your sweater. It's like the perfect sweater for me as someone who just loves to knit so many shawls. So there it is. So I have the entire body of the sweater done, and I even already just did the collar just because I felt like I just wanted to get that done. So I did the collar, which was easy. It was just like picking up and doing 2x2 ribbing. And so now I am on the first sleeve. I have done all my sleeve decreases, and then that same lace pattern, you start working it on the sleeve. So then the lace ends up sort of coming like down, like it splits like in a triangle and kind of goes around on the sleeve. So I'm enjoying this lace pattern. It's cables and lace. There's little well, it's like a 4 stitch cable, so it's like 2 over 2, or you know, one way or the other. So it's just been so fun to knit. I can't put it down. I really have enjoyed that this was, it's a bottom up sweater. So the bottom is extremely plain, like it's just stockinette. But I felt like I was able to sort of push through knitting the boring stockinette because I knew the lace was coming. And it's the same thing with the sleeve, is that you pick up for the sleeve and then start knitting this way. And I think what kept me going so far is knowing that I would have more lace down at the bottom to do. So that's my Izumi sweater. So I think I'll have it done in the next week and stuff. It fits, it's not blocked, but I feel like it's fitting really well. I've tried it on several times now. You know, I kept being like unsure and then trying it on, and I've just been so happy with it. So I'm really pleased. I tend to run a little hot. I'm always a little warm. So I'm hoping that it will be cool enough at Rhinebeck that I can wear it, even if it's just for a little while in the morning. Because if it's, I mean, honestly, if it's going to be over 60 degrees, this is only going to cut it for so long, and then I'm going to be too hot, even 60 degrees, like if it's sunny. Nope, I'm always warm. So I'm personally one that's hoping that it's cool, even if it's just in the early part of the day, so that I can wear it. Like, honestly, if it was like, I feel like if it was 35 and snowing at Rhinebeck, I'd be fine. As long as it wasn't like a blizzard, you know? Colder is typically better for me. So that is the sweater. And then I have started a shawl. It is a new design of mine that I've just been sort of working on here and there. When we were going to Fargo, I sort of was perfectly in between work projects. So I didn't have any work knitting or crochet that I had to be doing while we were on the Fargo trip, but I also knew that I really wanted to be knitting something like other than socks, because the socks do get a little boring when you're in the car for 10 hours. So I had this yarn that I had picked up at Stitches Midwest. You saw it in my, I think you saw it in my Stitches haul. Pretty sure I included it. But it is yarn for a design for Leading Men Fiber Arts. It'll be a self-published design. So I sort of went ahead and worked up the design and then started knitting it in the car on the way to and from North Dakota. So this is all I have so far. So basically right now it's just garter stitch stripes, and then there's going to be lace on the end. So it's sort of that asymmetrical sideways, I've seen them called boomerang shawls. But it's going to be wider than the ones I normally do when I do just all lace. So the stripes on this are very subtle, but I really like it. I think it would look really good with like mini skeins or a gradient. Well, you guys know I love the gradients. But I am loving this color combo. My friend Jen helped me pick out the color combo at Stitches Midwest. So the pink there is Bend and Snap, and the brown is Black Walnut. Again, the yarn is Leading Men Fiber Arts. It's their showcase base, which is a fingering weight yarn, and I'm just like loving it so much. So I've been sort of working on this one here and there too. I'm hoping it'll be done in the next couple weeks so I can have that pattern maybe out in October. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. I have no real like set deadline for that, so that's just been something sort of fun to work on in between the other stuff. Right now, I've been so focused on that Izumi sweater because I'm like, I really want a Rhinebeck sweater so bad. I just really do. And that one, I feel like not a lot of people have knit that Izumi sweater, but like everybody should because it's so pretty. But anyway, so I'm really excited because I feel like, yeah, I'm not going to be wearing the most like hot popular pattern for the year or anything to Rhinebeck, but I'm so in love with that sweater that I'm just like, I can't wait. I'm like so pumped to wear it. So that's really it. I think I have my list here. That's it for whips, works in progress. So I think I'm going to just get in quickly to acquisitions. Okay, so acquisitions, I really only have one thing to show you, and actually I already showed it to you in the knitting chat with Alex, but I'm going to show it to you again. So while I was at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool with Alex, we did walk around the market. I always love walking around like a market like that. It's just, I always get so inspired even if I'm not doing a ton of shopping. But what I did buy was I bought yarn from River's Edge Fiber Arts. And what other information do I want to tell you about this? This is a fingering sock weight yarn, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. You all know that for me is like perhaps one of the most perfect combinations of fingering weight yarn for me. This is 600 yards and it's actually 150 grams and it's a 4-ply. So definitely enough to make a good size shawl if I want. The colorway on this is Skyfall. So when we walked into the market barn area that had all the vendors at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, literally this is the first thing I saw. It was like, oh my gosh, I just loved this color combo. It's like, I'm really into like galaxy themed things lately. So I just saw this was like must have, but I did resist and I walked through all of the vendor area and then came back and bought this. So that's my one thing I got at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool this year. And I've never, honestly, I had not heard of River's Edge Fiber Arts. I don't know that I'd ever seen them at a show before. So I was really excited to get something brand new to me that I had never had before. So I don't know what I'm going to make with it. But yeah, it's really pretty. Ooh, I love it. Ooh. I feel like the colors are picking up pretty true here on my camera here. So that's my one acquisition. I I guess the other thing I wanted to just talk about is sort of like my plans coming up. So I do have a couple sock yarns here that I'm probably going to take with me to Rhinebeck. I think I've showed you these before here on Yarn Purpose, but I'm not sure. So I feel like these you'll be seeing in sock form soon. Sort of, these are like potential plans. So this one's obviously very Halloween themed colors. The colorway is Halloween. This is from the Yarn Jar shop. She is on Etsy. And you can see it's a beautiful sparkly sock yarn. This is her 2-ply fingering weight, which is superwash merino, nylon, and stellina, which the stellina is a sparkle. It's 100 grams, 438 yards. So she also does dye to order like Nomadic Yarns. So I feel like this one might be coming with me to Rhinebeck, because we also, in addition to going to Rhinebeck, my friends and I were also going to Salem, Massachusetts a couple days before Rhinebeck to go like on a witchy tour. So I feel like some Halloween themed socks might be appropriate to be working on. And then the other one I have this one's from Nomadic Yarns, and it's their twisty sock, which is 400 yards for 100 grams. And this is the Rhinebeck sweater weather colorway. So I don't know. I feel like one or both of these will be coming with me to Rhinebeck. I don't know. Part of me is telling myself I need to finish up some other socks first, and part of me is telling me these are the perfect fall socks to take to Rhinebeck with me. So we'll see. But those are sort of like on the top of the sock yarn pile right now, things I'm thinking about making. Let's get into work stuff. I have a few sort of work things to talk about, and then we will wrap this up. So I did release my September Patreon pattern. So if you are on my Patreon page, you should have gotten your coupon code for it. So I released this. It's the Minerva hat. So it is an exclusive pattern to my patrons for 6 months. So they got the hat, and then also this month I actually did 2 patterns, which normally I only do 1, but this was very quick to knit and I had yarn left over. So I also did some Minerva mitts. So if you again are a patron, be sure to go to my Patreon page to get the link to the pattern. And if you're not a patron, I'm starting to plan on my November design. And so how it works is I release a pattern exclusively for my patrons on my Patreon page every 2 months. So the September one just came out, so now I'm working on the November one. And so if you want the November pattern, it's any level on my Patreon page, even $1 a month, but you have to be a patron for 2 months. So you need to be a patron in September and October to get the November pattern. I just had to kind of do it that way just so people didn't sort of play the game of joining and then canceling just to get the pattern, because I did kind of have that happen at the beginning, unfortunately. But anyway, so for as little as $2, you know, if you only do $1 a month on my Patreon page, you get a pattern basically for just that $2, and nobody else gets it. So anyway, for November, I'm going to be using this yarn, the Neighborhood Fiber Co. Capital Luxury Sport. And what I do is I let my patrons vote on what they want. So what has won as far as what it will be sort of a wrap stole, you know, like a wider scarf kind of. And now they will be voting on details. So whether lace, cables, texture, slip stitches, those kinds of things. And then I sort of use that as my guide to then steer what I'm going to design. So I'm going to be working on this now in the next couple weeks. So I always have a link to my Patreon page down below. I do a few extra videos a month at certain levels. There's other free stuff you can get. So yeah, so that's like sort of the main work thing that I'm working on in the next few weeks. And then I just have like a couple more things for other patterns that came out if you're interested. The first one is that I have a pattern in the new Creative Knitting magazine. So this is the Comfy and Cozy issue. It's it's sort of like one of their special issues. So I will just flip to my pattern here in the magazine. So this is my Sable Woods shawl. So it is a sport weight top-down triangle shawl, and it has the little yarn fringe tassels, which obviously are completely optional. But it's just a very easy, simple lace pattern, but it's my first pattern in Creative Knitting magazine, and Creative Knitting actually was the first knitting magazine I ever had a subscription to when I first was first knitting. So I'm very excited about having a pattern in Creative Knitting magazine. So again, you can look for the Comfy and Cozy issue at your yarn store or bookstore if you want to check that one out. I think you can also get like a PDF of the magazine from the Creative Knitting website as well. I'm not 100% sure on that though. And then the other thing I wanted to show you in here is, let me just flip some more. I actually also wrote my very first article for a magazine. So I have a tutorial for a garter tab cast on as well. I have a video for that too on my YouTube page, but I was really excited. That was my first article in a knitting magazine. I thought that was kind of cool. So that's that. And then the last thing I have to show you, which is probably the thing I'm the very most excited about, is an advanced copy of my 6th book. Top Down Shawls arrived in the mail the other week. I am so excited about this book. This is my 6th book, and it never gets old for me. Like literally, I cried when I opened the box for this one too, because you just put in so much work into these books and then you send it off. And then 9 to 10 months later, a book shows up, and a couple months after that, the book comes out. And so I'm just so excited about this one. So it's 12 knitting patterns, shawl patterns, obviously. They're all top-down shawls. And so it's broken up into 3 sections. So there's wedge shawls, so top-down triangle, and then sort of like the 3 wedge, like this. There's 4 patterns like that. Here's another one. And then there are 4 crescent shawl patterns. Let me just show you a couple of those. Let me find a good picture here. So there's one. And I have, this was actually the first lace weight pattern I've done in a book. And then after the crescent shawls, they are the half pie, or in the book they call them half circle shawls. So that one's actually mostly texture, not really lace. And let's see what other ones I can show you. There we go. So there's 12 patterns, which is less than what's normally in my book, but then what I think is the best part, hopefully you think it's the best part too, is that I have sort of design your own, they're like templates. It's like choose your own adventure shawl. So what I have is a template for a wedge shawl. So you can either do 2 wedges, like a top-down triangle, or 3 wedges. And then I include charts for different stitch patterns to put into your shawl. So you can do any of the charts in any order you want and make your own shawl. So the wedge shawl template section has 6 stitch patterns. The crescent shawl template also has a different 6 stitch patterns, and then the half pie or half circle has 6 stitch patterns. So I'm really excited. So it's not just the 12 shawls, it's also a whole bunch of stitch patterns that you can mix and match into your shawl. So I don't know, sort of where the inspiration came from was, well, a couple things. Is I loved, when I first started sock knitting, I really loved those sensational knitted sock books that sort of had templates and you could plug in different stitch patterns. So I always, in the back of my mind, thought it would be really cool to have that in a book for shawls. And then also I do teach design your own sock yarn shawl a lot. And so I did find that people really do want to mix and match and customize their shawls a little more. So this is sort of the best of both worlds. You have just straight patterns that you can just follow, and what you see in the picture is what you're going to get, or you can sort of use the templates in the back of the book and mix and match and sort of get your own shawl. So I'm very excited. So this book will be out, I think mid-November is when it will start shipping. So you probably will see it in your local yarn stores and bookstores and stuff in the very early part of December is going to be my guess. But I just couldn't wait to show you guys. I'm so excited about this. yeah, so if you do want to get a copy of it, I will leave a link down below for Amazon if you do want to pre-order it, but I would just encourage you also to go to your local yarn store and tell them that you want the book, and hopefully they can get in touch with Martingale, my publisher, and get it ordered for you. So that's like the big work news, is the book's almost out, so yay. So that's it for me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this coffee catch-up. I feel like I had a lot to catch you up on today. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it that thumbs up. And if you want to see more coffee catch-ups or more of my videos in general, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you like, you can turn on notifications to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I have new videos on most Fridays. That's it for me for today, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye!